Simon Sinek once said that there's an entire industry out there designed to help us become better leaders, better parents, how to sleep better, how to eat better, and even how to work out better. And you've seen them. But there's hardly anything out there designed to help us to become better friends. Why is that? Why don't we put that same effort into learning how to make and maintain friendships? Listen to this. According to a study published in PLOS Medicine, psychologist Julia Holt Lunstad found that people with poor quality friendships, or even no friends at all, are twice as likely to die prematurely. In fact, the impact of loneliness is more dangerous than smoking 20 cigarettes per day. That is a crazy comparison, but it just proves how crucial our friendships are to our well-being. So, if friendships are that important, then why do so many people have a really hard time making friends? The truth is, making quality friendships, well, it takes effort and it takes time. So today, I'm going to break down 3 of the biggest reasons people use to explain why they can't make friends, and more importantly, how to overcome them. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back to the show. My name is Caitlin Ward, and I am your host. Before we get into the content today, go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe, and hey, even turn on your notifications so you're alerted every time I post a new video. Well, by the end of this video, you will have actionable strategies to break through the barriers that are keeping you from making meaningful friendships. Let's jump right in. So, why is making friends so hard? Why do some people have such a hard time making friends? Well, we grow up. That sounds silly, but when we're younger and when we're kids, making friends is honestly a lot easier than when we get older because we're kind of forced into proximity of people. When we're younger and in elementary school and high school, we're friends with people that are in our class, that are in same social clubs, or maybe they live in the same neighborhood or go to the same church that we do, or maybe we play on the same sports teams. And then when we go to college, it's pretty much the same thing too. We're friends with those who live on the same floor as us if you live on campus, or if you're part of intramurals, you're friends with those people, or even your same major. And a lot of times we're able to make friends easily because we're forced into the proximity and there's repetition of seeing these people every day. And even when we're younger, there's a less fear of rejection. When we get older, we're like, do those people like me? Will they want me to talk to them? But when we're a kid, we're like, hey, do you want to be friends? And we also have more free time when we're kids. So when we get older, we have things pulling at us like our jobs or our family, or if you have kids, they got sports. And trust me, I had to take my little siblings to practice all the time. So that causes a lot of you to be pulled on all different directions. And having that free time when you're a kid really helps making friends. So when we get older, we kind of lose those things and our built-in social structure, it kind of disappears. So making friends has to become more intentional because we're no longer in that same automatic social structure that the childhood provides. So that's why as adults we have to actively seek out social opportunities instead of relying on just proximity alone. When that social structure disappears, we tend to fall in routines of just going to work, going to the store, going home, going to work, going to the store, going to the gym, going home. And we repeat this cycle over and over and over again. And we just kind of stay stuck and we don't meet people along the way. We tend to keep to ourselves at the gym, or we tend to keep to ourselves at work because we're just so busy with a lot of other things that we just go from one thing to the next and don't make those meaningful connections along the way. Because if you don't put the effort in to do that, it's not just going to come naturally. So that's where these 3 biggest reasons come in, what people use to explain why they can't make friends. So what are those reasons? Number 1, just not knowing how to start. Some people don't know how to make friends because they just don't know how to have conversations and they just don't know how to do that. And I can tell you, I've been there before. Number 2, they just lack the opportunities. Maybe you feel like you don't have the opportunities to be in a place where to meet like-minded people. And number 3, a busy schedule. So the 3 reasons why we find it hard to make friends is you just don't know where to start, you lack the opportunities, and you just have a busy schedule. And those feelings are valid. Those reasons are valid. And I've been the same way where I've been like, well, I don't know how to talk to people, so I don't know how to make friends. Or maybe I'm just like, I don't have time to make friends. I'm so busy, or I just don't have the opportunity to meet my kind of people. Well, they're genuine reasons, as I said. They are things that we can fix. Dave Martin once said, if you want your tomorrow to be different than your today, then you got to learn something today that's going to make tomorrow different. And that's true. If you want to make meaningful friendships, you're going to have to learn something new. You're going to have to learn how to talk to people. You're going to have to learn how to manage your schedule a little bit better. You're going to have to learn how to find different social activities that you can join in your community. You have to make friends. You just got to learn something new. So today I'm going to show you how to overcome these 3 excuses and excuses or reasons, and start making meaningful friends, starting with reason number 1, I just don't know where to start. Many people, they want friends, but they just simply don't know how to start a conversation or build a connection. But the good news is, talking to people, it's a skill you can learn, because I learned it myself. For example, when I was younger, my sister Sydney, she was the outgoing one, and I was the shy one. And so what I would do to make friends is my sister would go make the friends, and I would just be friends with her friends, because I didn't have to do, honestly, I didn't have to recruit those friends. So she did it for me. And it wasn't until I was in college that I truly realized how important it was to learn how to talk to people and make those meaningful connections. And I found that you can learn this one thing, and it pretty much helps you talk to any person, any conversation, and it's actually a lot easier than you think. And now you might think I'm lying, and you might think, Caitlin, how can you be so confident that I can just learn one thing and that can help me talk to anyone? But trust me, I'm not lying. The key to starting and just having a conversation is seriously so easy. Ask about them. Dale Carnegie once said, you can make more friends in 2 months by being interested in them than in 2 years by making them interested in you. People love to talk about themselves. Whether you admit it or not, you like to talk about yourself too. And so your job in making relationships and developing those conversations is simply learn how to talk to people, and in talking to people, learn how to be interested. Be genuinely interested in those people. And you might think, well, how do I start this conversation? So here are a few conversation starters. Ask about their job. When did they start their job? How long have they been there? Do they enjoy it? What do they like most? What has been challenging to them? Or even you could ask them about their hobbies. What do they do for fun? If you just moved to a new city, you can ask them what they do for fun, and maybe even take their advice and see if you can join them sometime. Or even ask about their family. And if you're married and you have kids and you're going to a new place or a new city, you can ask if they have kids. Oh, where do their kids go to school? You might find out they go to the same school, they're on the same sports team, and then you have a start of a new friendship. You can even ask about seasonal events, like, where did you travel for the holidays? Are you going anywhere exciting this summer? Do you have a vacation planned? Whatever it is, there's a lot of different conversations you can start just by those four topics. And once the conversation starts going, it'll naturally lead to those deeper connections. You just got to start it. But it's also just not about talking. It's not just about asking the right questions. It's also about knowing when to listen. Friendship is a two-way street. So while it's okay to share about yourself and it's welcomed, avoid dominating the conversation. A balance between talking and listening is key. But maybe your problem isn't talking to people. Maybe it's just finding people to talk to in the first place, which leads us to reason number 2. I don't have opportunities to meet people. And my advice to you is make your own opportunities. Well, in order to make friends and to talk to people, you're going to kind of have to find people to talk to. So make your opportunities to find those people. And friendship, it really needs that proximity and consistency. So you need to put yourself in environments where friendship can naturally form. So here are some ways that you can do that. Join social groups. Maybe you can join your local church and they have small groups. It's a great place to meet like-minded people. Or you can do community events like volunteer work or local meetups or charity events. I have a family friend, and they have this thing called Go Team Therapy Dogs. It's so precious. They're therapy dogs that go to disaster areas, schools, hospitals, libraries, special events, senior centers, assisted living, any place where a therapy dog is needed. And they have created an amazing community of people because they have like-minded people around them. They have people who've joined with therapy dogs, and they go around to different cities. And it's because these people were able to create a friendship because they went to something that was in their community, like these therapy dogs. Or it could be, talking about community, if you like running, join a run club. I have a friend who has a run club, and there have been meaningful friendships that have been created out of that. So you can join a run club, or you can join a sports league. I know people who play basketball, tennis, and they've learned how to make friends there. And lastly, this one, some of you might be skeptical to it. Some of you maybe have already tried it, but we live in a day and age where you can meet people online. You've heard about dating apps, but there's also like apps to meet friends on there. There's one called Meetup, I think. And when I was looking up, I was like, how do you make friends in this day and age? Well, people meet online. There are places where you can find like-minded people online too. That might not be your cup of tea, but it's an option. So, even another option that you can do to put yourself in environments, say you lack opportunities. Well, do you frequent a local coffee shop often? Or maybe a local restaurant? You can meet people there. Like my dad, whenever my family and I moved up here to Michigan, we didn't know hardly any people. And he found this restaurant that he really enjoyed, and he started to frequent it pretty often. And then a year later, he's made friends with the people who work there. He's made friends with the regulars, all because he was consistent with being around people, and he created his own opportunity. So you can do the same thing too. Just put yourself in situations where the interaction is natural. So find areas and opportunities in your community, in your church, maybe even online, where you can meet new people. Because creating opportunities, it's important for us to be with people that we have similar interests. Still, creating opportunities, that isn't enough. Creating opportunities is great, but you also have to make time for those opportunities. Make time to develop those friendships. Which leads us to our final reason. Why are you struggling to make friends? I'm just too busy. Let's be real. If you don't schedule time for your friendships, they won't happen. If you don't schedule time for anything, nothing's going to happen. You have to schedule it. So yes, work and responsibilities, they take up time. I can attest to it. I do have a very busy work schedule, but I do make it a primary. I do make it I can't think of the word right now. I do make it of high importance to put those in my schedule, even if it's a month out. There are some friends that are like, hey, can you hang out this month? And I'm like, no, but what about next month? So you got to schedule it. But, responsibilities and all this kind of stuff, it takes time. But friendships, if they matter to you, take a moment to audit your schedule and find areas where you can prioritize social connections. So sometimes we might think we don't have time, but if we take a moment to look back at what truly takes our time, we could cut something out over here, and then there you go. You have an hour and a half where you can go and hang out with someone. So think about it. Do you spend time just procrastinating certain things, like maybe you watched a lot of TV, or maybe you spend a lot of time on your phone? Whatever it is, that's time that you could minimize in one area and use it to invest in your friendships. And another thing is, if you already have some acquaintances, but you feel like that, oh, they never asked me to hang out, be the one to take initiative. So I know you have a busy schedule, and you might think, well, I'm not going to make time for other people. I'm not going to make sure that I make the time for them because they don't make the time for me. Well, you got to be the one to take initiative sometime. I can't tell you how many times, and I've said it myself, that people have told me, well, no one asked me to hang out. And then I ask them, well, have you asked anyone to hang out? Some people really aren't good at planning certain things, and it just takes practice. So be the one that takes initiative. Be the one that asks them to hang out, because the Bible even says in Proverbs 18:24, he who has friends must show himself friendly. So in order for us to start making those friendships and to maintain them, you got to put the effort in. Sometimes you're going to need to be the one to make the effort. You're going to have to be the one who takes the initiative. And then eventually, it's going to return back to you. You reap what you sow. We talked about that last week. Even in your friendships, because used to, I was always the one that asked people to hang out. And now I have some dear friends who, they ask me to hang out sometimes. I ask them to hang out sometimes. And, you return the favors. So making friends It isn't effortless, but it's absolutely possible. To recap what we've gone over today on how to overcome the 3 biggest reasons for not making friends. Number 1, you don't know where to start? Well, ask people about themselves. You don't know how to start a conversation? Be interested in who they are and what they're about. Number 2, I just lack the opportunities. Create your own opportunities by joining groups and by being social in those interactions. And number 3, I'm just too busy. Well, scheduling friendship, it's important, and you need to schedule time to be with your friends just like you schedule everything else, just like you schedule going to the grocery store. To create and maintain anything meaningful in your life, it's going to take effort. Start today by making an effort to connect with someone and go out and start building your friendships and relationships. If you haven't already, give this video a like, comment, subscribe, comment something that stood out to you, and share this with someone who you feel like could be impacted by this topic. Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you again next week.